Hey there, Retro Games fans. This is Andy C from Pieces of 8-Bit, and a happy new year to you. Welcome to 2025. An amazing year last year. Go back and check out my review of 2024. It's been an incredible year for me and for the channel and for the industry in general. It's been fantastic to see so much development in the sort of mainstream gaming community. There's been lots of sort of exciting titles coming out this year. Hopefully more next year. It has been a quiet few years, I think, in the latest generation of consoles. Yeah, in the retro gaming scene, there's been loads of things going on. Lots of reimagined products and releases coming. Most notably for me, the Spectrum, which I will be doing a full 1 month review on my normal slot on Friday, 6 PM UK time. Come check that out when that gets launched. So yeah, it's been an incredible year, and I'm very excited for 2025. I think that's also going to be a pretty fun year too. So yes, but today is a bit of a bonus episode. I'm going to be doing an unboxing of the Atari 2600 Plus. So the Atari 2600 Plus is a reimagined Atari 2600 console. It's something that I'd sort of been looking at for a little while, been thinking about, and then Amazon, who exclusively sell the device, was selling it for £60 on sale, so it's 40% reduction. That was just a no-brainer. I'm like, yes, this is one of the last consoles that I wanted to get. I quite like the idea with these older ones, a bit like with the Spectrum, of having the sort of reimagined versions of them, because the old ones are so old. It is quite difficult to get them all set up and running on sort of newer televisions and that kind of thing, and you have problems with reliability and those kind of things. So I just thought, if I see a 2600 Plus at a reasonable price, I just might pick one up. Comes with 10 games, which we'll dig into when we do the unboxing. But most importantly, and this is the bit I really like about the 2600 Plus, apart from the fact it plays 2600 games and 7800 games from the Atari generations, those early consoles, it also accepts cartridges, the original game cartridges. So that's going to be something that I'm really interested in, and I will show you a little bit of extra stuff that I picked up in a moment. So I'm going to do a quick kind of dig into the history of Atari, but I'll keep it very, very brief, just so you're aware of kind of the background and that kind of thing. And yes, we'll dig into the unboxing, and I'll tell you a little bit about what I'm going to be doing. I'm not going to be doing a month with review on this. It came today, and I really wanted to get it unboxed. I didn't want to have to wait a month. I've already picked my console for the January month with series. I didn't really want to do this one. This was very much an impulsive purchase that I made a couple of days ago. So yeah, I'm going to do a month with this console probably fairly early in the new year, but it won't be January, it might be February or March, but I just couldn't wait that long to get into this. So yes, let's have a bit of a dig through the history of Atari, and yeah, let's go from there, and let's get this thing unboxed. I'll see you in a moment. Okay, I'll keep this history lesson relatively brief. 2 reasons. One, because I sort of did something very similar on my Lego video a little while ago. So I built an Atari 2600, and I picked up a Raspberry Pi Zero, and I popped that in the back of it and sort of made a working Atari 2600 out of Lego, which was quite fun. And I did talk a little bit about the history there, so please go check that video out if you're interested. And also, when we do the month with series, I'll go into a little bit more detail about the Atari 2600 itself, and the history of that particular item. Needless to say, Atari was founded in 1972, Atari Incorporated. Obviously a stalwart of the gaming industry still today. Had a bit of a sort of sad, very bumpy history. So the Atari we know today is not the same Atari that was created back in 1972, but they were definitely in the they were definitely the pioneers of sort of home computing, and arcade computing for that matter as well. Obviously, a lot of great titles in the arcades as well. And in 1977, the VCS was launched, later known as the Atari 2600 in 1982. And there were other consoles around that came before it, but the Atari 2600 really was considered to be probably the first very commercially successful unit, and probably the first one a lot of us would have seen, especially in the UK. A lot of us hadn't seen consoles before. The idea of playing arcade-style games at home was pretty much unheard of. Now, without giving the game away too much, when the Atari launched, I was certainly not in a position to be playing on one. I was way too young. But yeah, its legacy lasted some years afterwards, and I'm pretty sure I remember playing on Atari 2600 when I was at school, so probably in the early school years, in the early 80s. I'm pretty sure I knew someone who had a 2600. It's very, very hazy in my memory now. Really, my first big gaming memories are on the Spectrum, which is why that's been so amazing for me to get stuck back into. But I'm pretty sure I played on the 2600, and I have seen them. You know, they're quite long-lasting machines. I've seen, you know, they before the retro gaming scene was a really big thing. Probably about 20 years ago. Someone picked one up off a car boot. That's like a sort of, for the Americans watching, that's sort of a market where everybody turns up with they open the trunk of their car, and they have a whole load of stuff that they sell in a field. Basically, that's all it is, and you can pick some real bargains up. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he picked up a 2600 for a few quid, a few pounds, and we played a few games on that. They do have limited appeal, some of the games nowadays. You know, it is a really, really old console, but some of the games that are on there are, you know, pioneers of the industry, of the gaming industry. So yes, some significant dates. So 1979 was when Activision appeared, and then we saw Space Invaders, an adventure in sort of 1980, and then Asteroids. 1982 was when we saw Pac-Man and E.T. So Pac-Man, amazing game, Namco game. E.T. Synonymous with being one of the biggest gaming flops of all time, released on the console, developed in a very, very short period of time to coincide with the release of the movie. And it was a disaster, an absolute disaster. And later on, some years later, they found there was a landfill, and they discovered a load of just discarded ET cartridges. It was really bad for Atari, and a lot of people, and I think it's a little bit harsh, but a lot of people credit this with the start of the 1983 gaming industry crash, which largely was more of a US side thing than it was a UK thing. Yeah, it really shook the industry right to its core, and I think in the States it almost finished it, were it not for the likes of the NES and consoles like that came along and really kind of revived things. So yes, I'll leave it there. I mean, I'm not going to talk about the full history of the hardware and Atari and that kind of thing, guys. I really want to get into this, right? I'm sure you all do too. So let's get dug into the unboxing, and let's have a see what the first impressions of this Atari 2600 Plus are. Right, let's get stuck in. Now, confession, I have released the tape on the top, and that is largely because when I do these unboxing videos, normally I end up fighting with the packaging, but I promise you, I have not looked inside. I have literally just ripped the tape on the top of this Amazon parcel, and that's all I've done. So you'll be seeing this the first time as I'll be seeing this. So let's get stuck in. I love this. I love unboxing. Who doesn't love unboxing tech, right? I think this is where it all starts. This is why tech people never have any money. Right. Okay. Here we go then. Let's move that out of the way. Okay. Great. Well, first thing I knew this already, is that I believe this is a smaller device than the original. I need to go and have a look at the packaging actually, just to see how the original was packaged. I didn't actually do that before I started recording this video. I'm not sure how close it was. One thing I realised with the Spectrum actually is that the packaging that came in is definitely very similar to how it was originally packaged, and certainly inspired by it very, very heavily. So I assume this is the case. I don't really know without going and having a look. But yeah, first impressions. Yeah, nicely packaged. It's clearly it's obvious spots on the front there. So let's get stuck in. Just have this sort of cellophane wrapping around it, which you have to kind of break into. All right. Okay, there we go. Nice glossy box. Nicely finished. Yeah, first impressions, very good. So this is obviously the European version, judging by all the languages that are on here. I don't know how much this retails for in the States. I think I can't remember. I'd have to have a look. It's not. I mean, even at full price, it's not all that expensive. So I mean, you know, this was £100 in the UK. Like I said, £60 on sale at Amazon at the moment. At the time of recording, I don't know how long it's going to stay at that price. So if you are interested in getting one of these, I just strongly suggest you go and check it out very, very soon. You can see on here as well, we've got this additional cartridge here, which I actually believe will go in. I think there is a cartridge in here, but we'll find out in a minute, which has 10 games on it, which I'll run through with you in a second. So let's have a look at the device. This is the exciting bit. Let me just move that out of the way. Okay, oh, yes, lovely. Lovely, really nicely packaged in there, look. One of the things that I have definitely noticed, and I noticed this with Retro Games, who did things like the Commodore 64 Mini and the Commodore 64, I think they did a VIC-20, which I haven't seen, the Spectrum, the A500 Mini. They all come really beautifully packaged, and I think there's a lot to be said for doing that. I think there's a lot of nostalgia involved with a lot of these older reimagined units, and I think people want to experience that same feeling when they're coming and having a look again. And yeah, I think Atari have definitely pulled this off, that is for sure. So let's lift the little plastic case out there. There's a lot of resale value for these, I think, as well, especially in the fullness of time. I think these will hold their value. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I know straight away that this is smaller, but wow, it is absolutely beautiful. It is really, really nicely. I know I say this every time. I do these unboxing videos and I'm always really impressed. And to be honest with you, it's not a massive surprise because, you know, like with the possible exception of the PlayStation Classic, which I was a little bit disappointed with, and I didn't get that boxed. That was second hand, so just sort of picked the unit up. I was a little bit disappointed with the machine, although to be fair to it, since setting that up with some homebrew software, you can actually get it to run all sorts of things. You can get it to run like a Raspberry Pi and emulate all sorts of consoles on there. So it sort of redeemed itself a little bit, actually. That was due to some advice that someone gave me on one of my other videos. So, but generally speaking, I mean, even on that device, the actual device itself is lovely. You know, the attention to detail on these things is always really, really good. And the thing I love about this is you can just see the wood graining. The wood grain panel on the front here, which was what, you know, the Atari 2600 was really famous for. Well, famous for the games, obviously, but in terms of the actual look of the hardware, that sort of wooden effect on the front, which for those of you who are old enough to remember, a lot of televisions from that period had this sort of wood veneer finish to match with all your furniture. And so the 2600 was obviously very much designed to sit on top of your television or underneath your television and kind of fit in, and it really did that. So it's got a real 70s vibe to it with this sort of orange piping around it and this wooden trim. So that's really nice. And I believe this little Atari logo will light up on the front when we power it up. So yeah, and then obviously actually on the device itself, you got your 4 buttons. It's really lovely. They're really tactile buttons on here. So we've got our game selector, our game reset button, TV type, so whether we're running on colour or black and white. It'd be interesting to see if that actually works. That would be of no use whatsoever, but obviously that was on the original VCS model. And then the on and the off. And then on the back, and this is the great thing about these devices, of course, is the fact that we've got HDMI. So we're going to be able to put old-fashioned VCS cartridges in here, and we're going to be able to run it on our standard. You know, I could go and run it on my 65-inch OLED TV in the living room if I wanted to. So that's really, really good. What else we got in the back here? So we've got the standard controller ports, which is kind of cool. We've got our difficulty settings. We've got whether it's, I think that's 16 by 9 or 4 by 3, so we've got some scalability there. Oh, difficulty on left and right, and then good stuff, USB-C power. So as I think you know, much as I love the Evercade, I was a little bit disappointed that had the old USB micro connector. I think this just the USB-C is a little bit more robust, but that's a real minor niggle, as I said at the time. Okay, so we've got the other things we've got in here. We've got our quick start guide. Okay, just a very quick kind of setup. That's nice. Okay, let's pop this down for a second. next to your put that next to the younger brother that is your the old Spectrum, which obviously both reimagined consoles, but the Spectrum was from 1982 and this one was from 1977. So yeah, it's crazy, really. I imagine the joystick is in here. Again, look at the packaging on this. The Atari logo in there. Brilliant. Really lovely. Here's our cartridge. So our cartridge has got Adventure, Combat, Dodge 'em, Haunted House, Maze Craze, Missile Command, love that game, Real Sports, Volleyball, Surround, Video Pinball, and Yard's Revenge. So played quite a few of those. Yeah, Haunted House, Missile Command, Adventure and Combat, definitely. Adventure and Combat especially synonymous with the 2600. Amazing games. And then on the back of here we've got some little jumpers, so when we want to play a particular game, it tells you what you need to set it to on the front there, so that's kind of cool. That's really good. So let's have a look in here. And like I said, I do love the fact that you can pop the original cartridges in, so we are definitely going to have a go with that at some point as well. Joystick. Now, I'm guessing, given the connectors on this, that this joystick will work with an original 2600. I mean, it's a 2600 joystick with a 2600 connector, but please don't quote me on that because I don't know, and I don't have a 2600 to try them on. But yeah, I mean that brings some memories back. I mean, that is very much how the original felt. I actually have a 2600 a joystick, a USB one that I used for the Lego set, and very much feels the same sort of thing, which is really, really good. I think Blaze did that, actually. I think it was a Blaze one. It was one of these ones you plug into the TV. I think you plug it into PC and you can download a load of Atari games, and they're all licensed for it, which is kind of cool. Okay, so that's the joystick, and then we've also got our cartridge there, and then if we have a look in here, we have, I assume this is all of our leads and other bits and pieces. So what do we get with this? We get our HDMI lead, of which I now have about 85 million, and then we've got our USB-C. So it's just a standard USB-A to USB-C lead. So that'll plug into any USB charger. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I actually find the chargers that come with the Raspberry Pi, so you can buy them from Pi Hut and places like that, or your local Raspberry Pi stockist. The USB-C power blocks that come with those actually are really, really good, and they'll work with most things. So I generally use that. I'm using that for the Spectrum at the moment. So I've got a couple of them. Obviously, I use it for the Raspberry Pi as well. So just check there's nothing on this side. No. So it's just an unnecessarily large box. I think it's just to fit really in there. So there you go. That is the. Let me just pull this back up again. So that is the 2600 plus, and yeah, currently retailing for £60. So we're going to get that fired up in a minute, so we can have a quick look and see it working. Yeah, so that's the unboxing. So let me get this hooked up, and I'll be right back with you, and we'll just have another quick look to see that it's working all okay. Okay, so it's all hooked up and ready to go. So let's get this rolling and see if it's all working okay. So here we go. Right. Moment of truth. There we go. Atari logo. It's just absolutely iconic, isn't it, that logo? And you can see on the front here, this is just lit. I don't know whether you can just make that out. Let me see how far I can bring this over to the camera. Probably not quite make that out, but the little Atari logo on the front is lit up. Now that's now asking me for a game. So let's put our 10-in-1 cartridge in first. So let's pop on Adventure. So we want all of our dips up for that. So let's turn that off again. In here. Alright, switch that on. I love the fact that you load this with cartridges. It's just brilliant. I mean, you could have done it, you know, like a USB loader or something like that, or put a load of games on, like a lot of the retro consoles. And I love the fact that a lot of them come with the consoles, the games built into the consoles. It's fantastic, but I also love the fact that I love this. You know, you load in a cartridge. There's just something tactile about it, and let's face it, you're appealing to, you're appealing to the nostalgia and people who are nostalgic for this device and other devices like it. So the whole action, it's a bit like it's sort of the equivalent of vinyl, really. I think for music, you know, like it's not necessarily a better way of playing music. It's just that there's, you know, I talk about vinyl a bit like it's like an event. You know, going in and selecting a record and popping it in your record player, and that's kind of what this is like. You know, the cartridges are an old technology, and you know, like this is but picking a game and popping it in there is an event nowadays. You know, a lot of the games are downloaded in digital. You don't have that same sort of experience. Even with CDs and DVDs, it's not quite the same. Something about a cartridge that is just really, really special. So what I didn't do was plug the joystick in, so I'm just going to do that quickly. Just pop that in there. Not sure whether I will need to reset or whether that's going to work straight away. Black and white does work. Look at that. Let's do a reset. Okay, interesting. Right, is that? It is working. Fantastic. I'll help if I held the joystick the right way, wouldn't it? There you go. Alright, so I'm not going to play this now. I have played this game before. And for those of you who are fans of the film Ready Player One, there's a great nod to a lot of these retro games, especially adventure. So yes, so that all seems to be working okay. Now, yeah, isn't it lovely? What a fantastic device. So there is something else that I wanted to talk to you about quickly relating to this. So I knew I was getting the 2600 Plus, and I knew that it ran on the old cartridges. So I popped into an amazing little shop. I was down in Cornwall. For those of you who don't know, it's a county in the UK, in the southwest. And popped into one of our favourite places, which is called Falmouth, which is down there. And there's a little shopping arcade with a shop called Toys on Titan, I think it's called, a Toy on Titan. And it's an amazing little sort of Aladdin's cave of memorabilia, old toys, a lot of Japanese toys, pop heads, all sorts of things, anything you can think of. They also have a really good selection of games as well. They've got loads of sort of random stuff in there. It's a tiny little shop. Definitely worth a look. It's a really good little place. The staff are very, very friendly in there whenever I've been in there. And you can pick up some real bargains. Now, Atari 2600 games are not all that easy to find in shops. You certainly can't buy them in places like CEX, or certainly I've never seen them in CEX. But this place had quite a few cartridges in there. So that's what I did. I picked up a few cartridges. He had a few more. I picked up a handful here. So here's some of the ones I've picked up. He said to me he doesn't know whether they work or not. And so, you know, he said next time you're in, you can just pop them back. But to be honest, the price that he charged me for them, I'm not going to take them back. I'll just keep them anyway, even if I can't get them working. I'm pretty sure they're going to need some TLC, maybe some isopropyl alcohol and some cotton buds to get them back up and working again. And some of them might just not work at all. But then California Games, I paid £2 for that. Centipede, I've already got anyway, but I paid £2 for that. Indy 500, game from 1978. That was, I think, also £2. I paid. You'll spot a theme. Decathlon, £2 as well. All 2600 games, I might add. I don't think I picked up any 7800 games. I did pick up this one, which was a little bit more. So this is Ms. Pac-Man. I paid £10 for this one. And this came with a manual as well, and it's in really good condition, so this is probably going to be the first one that I'm going to try. Combat, again, a game I've already got, but this one is 1977, so this is obviously one of the first games. Fantastic. That was £2 also, and then finally, and you know how much I'm going to say, so basically I paid £10 for Pac-Man game and £2 for everything else. Summer Games, Epic Summer Games, which was also £2. So I'm not going to get these up and running now, because I imagine that they're going to need a bit of TLC and they're probably going to need cleaning. Some of them are a little bit dirty. But yeah, just wanted to say I've got some actual games to go and play with. I'm not intending on building up a big collection of these games, but I thought it'd be nice to have a selection of a few actual cartridges to give a try on as well, beyond the the 10 game cartridge that comes, and to be honest, that 10 game cartridge comes with some pretty good stuff as well, so that's really cool. So there you go, that was the Atari 2600 Plus unboxing. So far, as with all these things, I'm pretty impressed. It really is a lovely little unit. It's lovely. I love the size of it. Obviously it's a little bit smaller than the original, but I kind of like that. It's just as well because I'm running out of space in here to put it. So yeah, it's nice. And the nice thing about this one is I will be able to stick it under the television in the living room. I think you can buy some other accessories for it as well. So I think you can buy the paddles and stuff like that to go with it. I'll be interested to see if the original paddles and joysticks actually work with this. So please do drop a comment in my comment section below and let me know. So yes, that's it for today. So that was my little bonus episode. I say little, it's probably going to be, I haven't added it up yet, it's still going to be a relatively long video, but hopefully you enjoyed that. Yeah, so coming up in the channel, obviously please look out for the Spectrum 1 month with review. That has been an incredible device, as I mentioned before. So looking to do that. I've got a Retro Red Steve racing challenge to do. And then, yeah, I'm not quite sure what else I'm going to be doing through January. Got a few bits coming up, and then road trips through 2025. So, yeah, just stay tuned. Lots of exciting stuff coming. So, yes, please do hit that like and subscribe button. Nearly forgot to mention it if you are enjoying these videos. Otherwise, please do have an enjoyable start to the year. And, yeah, until next time, take care of yourselves. Bye for now.